We're here at the Balboa Island Museum and Historical Society with the Lee family. It's March 1st, 2016 for the Over the Bridge Oral History Project. First, I would like to ask you, what is your earliest memory of the island?
The earliest memory of the island would have probably been in the late 60s when my parents were actually dropping off one of the other co-workers, one of the other restaurants, because my father actually worked at a restaurant in Anaheim near Disneyland, and there was a Hispanic restaurant on the corner, Mendes, that was up for sale. So that's how they found out about Balboa Island, when they were dropping off somebody else, another co-worker. And the rest of the family was still in Brazil at the time, and rumors started talking about, hey, there's a business for sale on Balboa Island. I wonder what it would be like to open a Chinese restaurant in the middle of Balboa Island.
Lovely. And in Brazil, I understand you had a restaurant there, so did the cuisine develop there and you carried that over with you, or did the menu change much?
So the history actually goes back to when my parents left communist China after World War II. My dad actually ran a street, like almost like a food cart in Hong Kong. Then he had an opportunity to move over to Japan. So he was in Tokyo for a few years and literally ran 5 restaurants there. And then he heard that there's a great opportunity in America, but I don't think, again, things get lost in translation. I don't think he realized they were talking about South America, not America's America. So he ended up on a boat. And again, when you talk about the history of the Japanese culture, the second largest population outside of Japan is actually in Brazil. All the farming in South America is all generally Japanese. So my father, by this time, spoke not only Chinese, but he also spoke Japanese. So he found himself in Sao Paulo, opened one of the first Chinese restaurants in Brazil in the early 50s, and that's where he was. So as my parents were separated by about 10 years, because one, it was hard for my mom to get out of communist China. Eventually she made her way back down to Brazil. They reconnected. And by the time they went off to do their second venture, there were a lot more Chinese restaurants in town. So it wasn't as successful as they first thought, because again, the competition was there. So they decided to move to a small town, literally about 500 miles from the capital. And for as long as I can remember, we were the only Chinese family in this town of 100,000. So I never met another Chinese buster other than my parents. Other than in the summers, we would get to visit our friends in other cities, right? But eventually my dad thought, hey, you know, maybe there's another opportunity, and maybe I'll get to come to the real America after all. So in the mid-60s, my dad ventured to California, and luckily for us, he picked California of all places in America he could have came to. And like I said, dropping off one of their co-workers, they found this business for sale. So my dad came back in '69, told my mom, hey, maybe we can use some of our money, move to America. And luckily for us, of all things, the timing and all that couldn't have been better, because literally things happen for a reason, right? Well, there was a wonderful lady that was John Wayne's his wife's former publicist, a gal named Gloria Ziegner, and she was an amazing publicist, and we really credit her for launching my father's career in America, because the story that everybody knows is that John Wayne had a birthday party at the restaurant. That's not the real story. The real story was she was hosting a birthday party for her husband then, and she asked her client, John Wayne's wife, if they would stop by and wish him a happy birthday. Well, the picture that everybody saw is a picture of my father and John Wayne, not of John Wayne and all of the other guests, right? Well, after this little incident, the celebrity sighting of John Wayne at the restaurant, it became a phenomenon where people were waiting 30 minutes to an hour to get into the restaurant, because this is the Chinese restaurant that John Wayne would frequent. And so basically after that, the restaurant literally became this local celebrity hangout. And John Wayne, literally, as far as I know, had only been there one time. I don't know if he ever came back or not, but it really doesn't matter, because the myth became the legend. So 4 years passed, and in 1975, the rest of us came to America. So we moved, and it was an amazing story, because my dad got the restaurant for almost nothing, and you know, tying it with the real estate boom, which is amazing. And on top of it, a year after we left Brazil, Brazil had a major devaluation in its currency. So talk about my dad's good luck and fortune. Overnight, everybody in Brazil that we were friends with lost 90% of their net worth. And nothing that they could do about it because it had nothing to do with their own businesses, it was to do with the currency. So by now, we're riding the fortune and fame of having John Wayne as our celebrity customer. And all of us kids, without speaking any English, moved to Balboa Island, and literally we all worked at the restaurant.
So this is 1969.
1969 is when my father founded the business.
Okay.
And we opened this restaurant in 1971.
1971, okay. And what was the island like in these years?
From what I understand, my parents said it was very mellow. I mean, you could still buy a waterfront house for about $100,000. So it wasn't this mega tourist. It was touristy, but not this crazy, $1 million homes yet.
Wonderful. And what was Marine Avenue like as far as other neighbors? Did you enjoy that change of lifestyle here? What was the transition like for you?
For my parents, it was a very difficult transition because literally the closest Chinese family was literally in Chinatown in LA. So there were very few Chinese-speaking people in the neighborhood. But luckily for us, there's a lot of Hispanics that worked in the food industry. So my parents, speaking Portuguese in Brazil, adapted really quickly to speaking Spanish in America. So that helped them, really, be able to communicate with a lot of the people by speaking in Spanish. The interesting thing is what made us successful in Brazil is because we were the only Chinese family in this town. Well, when we moved to Balboa Island, pretty much we were the only Chinese family in the whole neighborhood forever, it seemed like, until, well, obviously Irvine and all the other cities became populated with Asian people. Newport Beach, as far as I was concerned, we were the only Chinese family for a long time.
And so food is very powerful. You can import your culture with it, and so it's a very wonderful way to share your heritage. So what was that like, bringing this traditional style food to the area? What did you just choose your favorite dishes that you had made back home, or how did you select your process?
My dad had restaurants by now all over the world, and you made what I call regional changes. What was maybe very popular in Japan didn't necessarily translate to Brazil. And again, what was very popular in Brazil may not necessarily translate to America. But most of the core, like the kambao chicken, the sweet and sour pork, the basic things were really popular. The one thing though I had never seen in Brazil and in America was really popular was egg foo young. I never understood that dish. But again, I never saw it in Brazil, but it was very popular in America. So there are certain things, walnut shrimp was not popular in Brazil. So there are certain things that were more popular here, and I think it's the taste, right, in the regional part. So my parents did what they needed to do to adjust, and like you said, you start with 100 items on the menu, and you pretty much find out that you only sell about 20 items every day, because nobody orders the funky chicken or the funky pork. Yeah, so pretty much, the population sticks to what I call the core, the more popular items.
Okay.
Maybe the parents want to speak.
Yeah, would you share, maybe invite your parents into the conversation? We'll work on translation.
That's good.
That's fine. We have some people here who might be able to translate, so either whatever you're most comfortable in asking some questions.
你们可以说，你跟他说中文话，但是他们可以translate，有人可以说，他们有你们说说。
他不是的，你现在你可以讲的。
讲中国话。
讲中国话，他老人他可以说。
啊。
What part of the history would you like me to ask them? I'll ask them.
What were your feelings coming to the island? What was your memory of the island?
第一次到巴布亚，你怎么样子看到恐惧不恐惧？怎么样子？
哦，那是就是那个你的哥哥嘛，读书，因为他在这个有些读书嘛，他说这个宁波北区这个巴布亚人很好，那么这很多这个中国人呢是说没有中国餐馆。那就是有很多产物在外国，在外边就是康托尼斯嘛。那么前的人们那里服务没有，所以这样子各个购物到这里来，到这个巴布亚人来找这个location嘛。 那个时候那个地方是这个我们那个宋美龄餐厅，它是这个墨西哥餐嘛。后来因为我们去看过以后，看这个位置好，那么我就跟他讲，那么说这个地方他要卖。那么我刚刚晓得问他的时候，我不知道他是卖房子还是卖这个餐厅。后来呢，他就说连房子、餐厅一起卖。那我就问他，你卖的时候呢，就说你一共大概要我多少钱？那我就跟他讲了，我说这个，他就告诉我要10.08千，那就说我就还了9.5万，9.5万呢，他后来说不行，他不卖，我就跟他说我再加你9.8千。那么9.8千呢，他要卖了给我的时候，他就好，他说你这个人很爽气，那么加个就说加3000，我就卖给你。那卖给你了之后，我就很高兴，就把它买下来。买下来以后呢，我就跟这个各个同乡吧，就找了很多同学来帮我忙装修。那么装修这个店的时候呢，很多人，这个旅游客很多嘛，我就想一想，用个那个大的那个签到的布置，在门口摆了放那边，来了很多游客就签个名、电话、地址给我。我说我立马都好了，我请你们来吃一顿。所以将来呢，就说我真的要这个格莱美舞本的时候呢，我就发这个信给他们，他们全部就说回来就来吃，他们吃了很高兴。所以这样子呢，我就说把这个店呢就做了，慢慢我就做起来蛮好的。1973年呢，那个姜文呢，他的太太过生了，他正好呢经过这个在对面买衣服，我也不知道，那因为我英文不懂嘛，后来很多这个我的工人呢，他们知道，他们晓得叫姜文，那我就说了，他说请他要不要到我们餐厅来吃饭，那么他们说大家很不好意思难为情嘛，那我就把那个大高帽子衣服穿起来，那我就跑过去，他正好出来，衣服买好了嘛，他就开了个车门，那我就喊他老师 Mr. 姜文 how are you？ how are you？ 我说我这个时候就想了，我说 This is my restaurant. You have come my restaurant. I bring dinner for you. Oh, thank you. I'm a business card. My name Lee. Oh, Mr. Lee, thank you. 我就把这个名片给他了，他拿走了嘛。拿走了以后呢，他1个月以后，有个很有名的记者，他到我这个newspaper记者，他就到我餐厅来试一试，看我这个菜做的好不好。这个4个菜做的吃得很好，他就要我出来，他说这个菜是不是你做的？我说都是我做的。那好，他说很好，这个菜很好。他说把名片给我，他说这个是你的朋友叫我来试你这个菜。我说我朋友太多了，哪一个？他说没事讲。我说对，上个月他来了，来了以后呢，我说他的这个在这个我请他来吃我的饭，他说很高兴，他说下个月你一个天不要做别的生意，有45个明星，有歌星，有电视明星，他是来这个他的太太做生了，那我说很高兴。他说你做这个菜呢要做得好，有10道菜，一道菜呢就是说45块美金。那我这个10道菜做出来呢，那天晚上来了45个，没有做别的菜，已经做到这，已经6点半了，都来了，他还没来。我说他很伟大，他就走后门进来，他就叫我，他说哎，Mr. Lee， 好，我看Mr. 姜文，所以这样的我就大家很高兴的。Mr. 姜文，他就把我抓到前面，跟他们讲，他说这个 My friend Mr. Lee called Chief Cook， 那我就说好的，我就给他介绍以后，我就到厨房里面就赶快把这个菜准备好，全部10道菜做好拿出去，他们吃好了以后呢，他要不出来，他说今天那个记者就说，从来他没那么高兴，今天特别高兴，看到你这个有吃的菜也好，什么都好。那这边是姜文呢，他就跟我讲，他说今天要你给我要唱2个歌，一个歌唱的是 送一个 Chinese opera。那正好呢，我学过的一个是中国歌，一个是北京的，我中国的北京人们的这个那个京戏，所以我就唱了这个歌给他听了。唱完以后呢，他很高兴的叫在摸叫 Chinese opera。那时候我这个 Chinese opera 我就唱的，你说这个不可以唱吧？啊，你可不可以唱呢？
可以。
可以吗？
So he's about to sing
It's
songs that he sang to John Wayne.
Oh,
It's a
lovely.
Mr. John Wing. One Chinese song as a I student song. 好花要常开，好景要常在，丑腿结小米，泪洒相思带。今宵离别后，后儿寻再来。喝温了这杯清静的小菜，人生难得几回醉，不喝干喝带。来，喝完了这杯再说吧。今宵离别后，后儿君再来。他看我唱完这个歌，他要求我唱我 Chinese opera。Chinese opera， 好玩一个聪明小汉的心，他将故人感动了我的心。他让我小汉的心，把全的这个武大的，你是抢这个武是大卫，你是姜伟，
Nice.
eh.
All right.
So the fun part is, so he's describing, when you translate what happened, how he met John Wayne and all that, right? So his story is.
所以这样的呢，他很高兴，把这个抱着那个，就是他说你不要给我别人拍照片，到我这里来给我拍照片给你，别人没兴趣是给我拍，拍了以后拿个菜谱子来，这啪签几个字 ，orange 我的菜最好，所以他呢就高兴了，就说既然就把我这个宣传了，那从那个时候就美丽这个生意好了不得，美丽很多客人来，哎呀。所以这样的呢，我就说用心，我直接把这个姜文喜欢做起的菜，我统统用心做出来，大家都很喜欢这样的，呀，所以。
So right. So John Wayne was there, right? He only took one picture that evening with my father. He signed the menu, and the story basically is my father sang "Happy Birthday" to John Wayne, which is not. It's an opera song, a traditional Chinese song. But somehow everything got lost in translation because all they heard was a Chinese song, right? And John Wayne, there was a birthday involved. To this day, I mean, rumor has it was John Wayne's birthday. I don't think it was John Wayne's birthday. It might have been his wife's birthday, but I think it was Gloria's husband's birthday. That's the story I know. And so it doesn't matter because all of a sudden, if you had a birthday in the 70s, you came to my father's restaurant.
Oh, because you got
And because you had my father come out in the middle of a dinner
Oh,
and his top chef and sing these songs.
what a delight.
And there was only one round table at the time at the restaurant. So if you were privileged enough to sit there for your birthday, my father would come out and serenade you.
Are they speaking Cantonese?
What was that?
Are they speaking Cantonese?
They're speaking a dialect of Mandarin, which is called Yangzhou Hua, which is where they're from. So it's what we call a farm Mandarin.
Okay, because I understand. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Mandarin, but
Yeah.
Wow.
amazing. Oh my God.
So I joke about the John Wayne theory, because up until that moment, the restaurant was moving along, but after this celebrity sighting, it just became, yeah. And that's the rest of the history of America, because it allowed us to come. And I remember working weekends, nights, whatever, and the restaurant always being packed, and reservations and all that. And he would literally come out a handful of times during the night and sing these songs. And those, as far as I know, the only two songs that my father knows how to sing.
It's funny, too, when they lived here, when they moved here.
What? Okay, would you share about when you moved here? So was it first at Amethyst or was it elsewhere?
So when we moved, my father was literally living above the restaurant from like 1971 until we got here. Because obviously there's a second story to the building. And again, it was just him and my brother. Once we moved here, 1975, the funny part is the story that I know as a kid is they were gonna buy a house on the island originally, but people walk around in their bathing suits. So my mom thought it was kind of like awkward that people would be walking around half naked, right? So they decided that they would buy a house in Costa Mesa. So originally we had a house on the west side, and as the brothers started graduating from high school onto college, there were less and less drivers to drive her around. So eventually they moved onto the island in 1980. So 5 years later, they bought a house on Amethyst, and they've been there ever since.
What changes have you seen along Amethyst throughout these years then?
The houses have just gotten torn down from the cottages to these massive 3-story homes, right? Because at the time, my parents' Hispanic house was one of the bigger houses on the block. I think now we're one of the smallest houses on the block. And that's the same for the whole island, right? The structures have just been.
Sure. Change is inevitable, so. As far as we speak of celebrities, John Wayne, of course, did you have any others people that you've seen and they've frequented your restaurant perhaps, or any other sightings on the island throughout these years?
你们有没有还有很famoso di persone in tua famiglia?你们的 famiglia 有没有还可能去看？
我们的旁边的。
Yeah， 那我就在 family 里有没有那个很有名字的那个人呢？
有很多很多议员，很多人来，都是有名的。
可是属于
但是我们写下来了。
啊。So there were lots of other celebrities that came, but the only picture that they ever, my dad was like,
Yeah.
it was all I needed.
Just the one, right?
Just one.
是这样，是很有名的。
Yeah.
都是有名的呀。
Well, because brother was very involved in politics, so the number of politicians and other people that came by.
Well, you moved here as a teenager then, and you enter in a surf culture. Would you share a bit about Newport Beach and the heritage of what that's meant to you, about growing up and experiencing those years?
Like I said, it couldn't have been a better time, because as they say, you spend all your first few years trying to fit in, because again, we're the only Asian family, Chinese family anyway in town, but pretty soon you find out that everybody knows you because you are the only Chinese guy in town. So it kind of worked against you at the beginning, then it worked for you. So we used that to basically say, hey, what else can we do? And we got into sports and the whole, luckily for us, Southern California embraced us really easily, because again, we had a really cool restaurant that people like to go to.
就现在的布朗也到我们餐厅来过的。
是啊。
有照片，我们有照片。
Okay.
布朗就是现在的这个。
Oh yeah, current Governor Brown is also, they have pictures, of other, when he was the governor the first time around.
Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful.
It's amazing family，中国 family，就是因为我的儿子个个读书，个个读的大哥哥读的历史，二哥哥读的医生，后头我们都不做family了，所以爸爸就把3个family就留到松林，那个海军连在对我就把我们的收了，还有一个在圣地亚哥，还有杭州个，就是我们4个family都很好，结果我们老了做不动了，你们那头读书。
So my mom was just mentioning that besides what I call the bread and butter, which is the Balboa Island restaurant. At one point, before I started Wahoo's, they had up to 5 restaurants. So they had one, the Seaview Garden on the peninsula. They had the Hang Chow in Costa Mesa. There was one in Yorba Linda, which I can't think of the name of it. And then there was I think, the Golden Palace in Chula Vista. The problem was because all of us were going to school, it was just too much for them to run. So they eventually sold all of them off and just kept the one here.
Wow. So naturally, you inherited this entrepreneurial spirit, I suppose.
Yes, naturally, it was always what I call it, been in this, in the blood. So my brothers and I, as we graduated, my oldest brother became a very successful immigration attorney. So I believe one of his claims to fame was that he did Arnold Schwarzenegger's immigration paperwork. So he was very big in that. My second brother became a very great, good, whatever you call it, a doctor. He resides in Shanghai right now, but he's coming back next summer. And then the next 3 of us, I spent a little bit of time in corporate America, decided that wasn't exactly my cup of tea. And together with Mingo and Ed, my 2 little brothers, one was getting out of school, the other one was still at UCI. We talked about how do we take maybe some of the stuff we've learned as kids and say what we can do. And again, luckily for us, we really love the surf culture. So we thought we would create a surf-inspired restaurant. And that's how Wahoo's was born in 1988.
It's a neat fusion.
Yes.
So would you share a little bit about the inspiration? We've read about the dishes and the meaning, but would you, for our personal record, share about the dishes?
The same thing we talked about is if you go to any cuisine, whether it's Mexican, American, or Asian, there's a few things that everybody loves. So I think American food, it's hamburgers, right? For better, or chicken pot pie. There's just a few things that everybody just loves because they're comfort foods, and without all the funky whatever, right? So in Chinese, there's about 10 to 20 items that is the core of what everybody eats in Chinese food, Italian and all that. So what we decided is what are the most popular things out there, from the Brazilian culture where we grew up in, the Asian culture that we're part of, and then the Mexican, because that's the most popular surf food when you travel outside of Southern California, because the first place everybody goes to is Mexico. So we kind of borrowed and stole all of our friends' recipes and created something that was different and wasn't available at the time in Orange County. So you can only get that if you went across the street, not to Mexico.
It's neat. It's a beautiful blend of culture and the way to taste different internationalities in a single place. So really unique opportunity. I must ask about the UCI particular site because I attended there and I saw that's how I became exposed to your restaurant was there. So was that something you did later to honor your brother's studies there, or is it just happenstance? Because it's a beautiful tribute to both backgrounds. So
basically everything that we've done is basically through necessity or customers asking us. So UCI became our first college location, which has done really well for us. We now have a location at LAX, and it's done amazing for us. It's one of those where supply and demand, they're looking for things that represent the space, and nobody's addressing it. There's people that do similar things that we do, but they don't do what we do because I don't think there's another Asian-owned Mexican concept. So we're kind of like, we're the only ones in that space. And again, our food isn't that much different than everybody else, but the history and the ownership is completely out of the left field.
and the flagship location being in Costa Mesa is the
Costa
same one
Mesa.
there. Okay, excellent.
It's the original store is about 5 minutes from where the house we first moved to in America.
Wow,
It's a lot of fun.
that's very sentimental. It has everything within that
Right.
block. Yeah, it's beautiful. Would you share a little bit why Balboa Island has held a special place in your heart? Just a general feeling, or?
It's just been home to my parents because they can walk around. The whole thing about no other community really around. The area that allows golf carts to literally travel like cars. So you have this really quaint, very expensive homes now, but you still feel like it's an old town.
Would you have a special story about your own childhood or your brothers, about growing up here, or perhaps an inner child in you on the island?
Well, the island has just became this kind of a cool place that how many people can go to school and whatever. Where do you live? Well, I live here, I live here. How many people can say they can live on an island, especially in California, right? So granted, Lido Island, there's other islands around here, but Babo Island's the only one that has businesses on it. So it has this really cool main street. You got great businesses that are still here. Granted, it might have changed hands, but the families, the history, it just makes you feel like what it used to be like. Instead of just mega development, there's really no buildings on this island.
Absolutely. We'd like to know if you have a special holiday memory that relates back here by chance.
I think for us, I mean, yeah, my parents would maybe, it was just funny. We look at it from both a business perspective and from fun, the boat parade. I mean, again, it's something that is very specific to this place. There's really, I mean, there's other harbors, but something about the Newport Beach Boat Parade, right? So you get to celebrate the holidays, you get to invite all your friends to do what? Watch boats go around, right? How much fun is that?
And I want to also mention that you do a great job sharing your tradition of Chinese New Year still. So having brought that culture, I celebrate that as well because it's a wonderful thing to tie in. So I'm grateful to see cultural heritage through your restaurant operations being brought to the community as well. So I think you've done a great job doing that as well. Would you have a favorite story about any other business along Marine Avenue that you'd like to share, even if it doesn't exist with us today?
I think one of the greatest treats back in the day, because we joke about it, you can only eat so much Chinese food, but we used to do trades with Mione's Pizza across the street. So we would give them Chinese food, they give us pizza trade. And I'm telling you, that was just one of the greatest things, you know, because you can only eat so much Chinese food. So Mione's was really fun to hang out at. And back in the day, I had a lot of friends that worked at the old Jolly Roger. So the hand-scooped ice creams were a really good treat. And then by the ferry, there was the original chip. It was called chocolate chip or Chips Ahoy cookies, whatever it was. It was a tiny little store. And again, all of us just traded. So cookies for Chinese food, you know, pizzas for Chinese food. It was a great little system because at the end of the day, I mean, we worked the weekends by 11 o'clock at night, nobody was really open. So we would always barter and just, you know, have a lot of fun doing it.
That's great. Must ask, because the Jolly Roger used to have the taco stand, what are your thoughts? Did you have those ever, or?
No, actually, I just had the ice cream there. That was the only thing. You know, those Sundays, whatever, the soft serve. Because one of our friends always worked at one of the places. So we would just trade amongst ourselves.
Great. What about, do you have a special feeling when you guys drive over the bridge? Is there anything,
I
any
think
sentiment?
it's home. You know, this is home for us in America.
It's wonderful. And with your business, you shared with us before about its current standing. Would you share with our future listeners about your current operations, the structure of how you connect with Wahoo's?
Yeah, well, both. Pine Garden is, you know, the new Shanghai Pine Garden. It's run by different friends of ours over the years. And the current group took over last fall in 2015. They renovated it. And basically, they're serving really good traditional Chinese cuisine at an amazing, affordable price. That's what I tell people. It's the best value in town. And that's why people come. And so you got the old people that are used to it, and you got all the new people who goes, wow, there's a place in Newport Beach that you can actually afford to take a family out and not break the kitty bank. So I think that's a great, and you eat family style, because again, so many places you get your own food. Here you do, everything's family style. So I think it's an amazing thing. And what we've done at our company is basically translate what we liked from my parents' generation, made it even simpler because people today prefer faster, better. So we eliminated some of the table service, but still the quality is there. We make everything from scratch. And we're just trying to do basically the same thing at a faster speed. So the same values apply to both companies.
Excellent. Do you have any parting thoughts about the island or your business structures over the year, or any anecdotes you'd like to share with?
I think the wonderful thing about what my parents been able to do for the people that rent from us is the fact that you don't need to gouge them because you can't, right? And I think so many of our friends or people we know are like, well, the market rate is this, so therefore we should do that. Well, obviously the market is based on something that was purchased today. But if you purchase something 30, 40, 50 years ago, the market rate should be based on that, not what its value today. So if you're able to basically give somebody a break in their rent or whatever their structure is, they'll be able to afford to make a better living instead of just getting by. So I think that's one of the biggest things, because we have a few landlords that we have amazing relationships with that allow us to get into business. And then we have other landlords that say, hey, here's the market, and that's too bad, right? And that's business, right? But if you can afford to, quote unquote, allow somebody else to make a living, and then everybody else benefits, because the community benefits from having a great business that doesn't have to gouge its customers.
It's great business structure and very commendable. So, well, thank you for your time and
Thank you
sharing
for having us.
your beautiful stories of the island and your
Yeah.
business